Hi, I became acutely aware while reading the late Jim Cory's last published book, Why's That Goddamn Radio On? Essays and Stories, Jim Cory by Radiator Press, that Jim wrote about loss, about people, places, and things that no longer exist. Then I realized that this is true of most writers and writing, and that I was sad because the world no longer has Jim in it since he died several years ago. We lost a unique, monumental, wise, wickedly clever, and profound voice, as well as an amazing human being. And it's beautifully told stories and essays. Jim takes us into the underworld of gay bars in Philadelphia in the 1970s, including a lively dive bar named Roscoe's in Center City, Philadelphia, which he frequented and what became known as the era of fag bashing. Before the era of HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, and AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, when gay men predominantly were dying left and right. A Renaissance man and a lover of music. Even then, when he was a young man, Jim frequented this bar and was fascinated with one of the drag queens named Sarah Vaughan, who stylized herself after the Divine One. He raised the straight men who address him on the street by saying, "Hey, faggot," knew not to fuck with drag queens, and goes on to explain. Some I knew opened purses to show me bowie knives and stilettos. To say that when crossed, they had their knives out is not a figure of speech. They came equipped with a kind of courage originating as anger, tamed to the point where can be unleashed and directed on command. In his essay, Waiting for Janice, Jim writes about adolescent memories of seeing the legendary Janis Joplin, whom he describes as Janis at 27 had no map and a talent she was still sorting out, still looking for ways to manage. She's climbed to a high place with no idea that it might be hard getting back down. What was she like? She was like the season's first snow, or a great lake, or seeing a bird you've never seen, and were sure you'd never see, appear on a branch 10 feet away. There was something evanescent about her, something fleeting that was discernible even then. Otherwise, seeing her blown up tabloid photo with the headline, Janis Joplin dead, would have felt like shock. It didn't. 3 years, even 3 years of stardom, is not a lot of time. She lived her life not so much as if she believed there'd always be more, but as if nothing but the moment mattered. But it wouldn't have mattered without the other part, which was harder to pin down: pathos and yearning. All the desperation of the abandoned were in her voice and on her face. Jim wrote about all, or could have, if he had been given more time. In one essay, "So what do you think about concrete?" he writes about a beloved elderly aunt who lived in Fargo, was single all her life, and remembered his rather gay-sounding exclamations from when he was a child. Did she, at some point, have a wild side, he wonders? In his essay, "Wild Children Screaming Mommy," which in many ways is the heart of the collection, Jim elaborates on his mother's first entries in the diary that she kept and that he found after her death. Tours recorded here went where she went. It isn't the menial specifics she records, it's that there are always more of them. Later, he wonders, when you're trying to do everything, how does anything get done? If Jim had not been struck down early, I, along with many others, would have more books by him to look forward to. But this was not to be. But then why is that goddamn Radion, essays and stories, Jim Cory, by Radion Press? We have one last and glorious book to remember him by. As we laugh and cry on our heads as we turn the pages. This is Jan Mason with reviews for Spotify and BookTube.